last chance, no beating around the bush.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Blake Production.
What's poppin'? We're going to go over this crypto ETF here, but I'm going to do it a little differently. I'm just going to highlight the percentage values that these stocks have either gained or lost since October 5th. So they're all referencing since October 5th. So Bitcoin since October 5th is down around approximately 4%. Ethereum 19% up. Glxy is up 7%, Defi up 72%, HUT is down 10%, Hive is up 1%, Mara up 11, Bitfarms up 17, Coin up 9, and SI is up 8. So those are the values that they've either gained or lost since October 5th. If you watched the previous crypto ETF video that I made, they were up big. A lot of these names were up big. Like some of the numbers were like 92%, 39, 51, 32, 52, right? All these names were ripping. So that just goes to show you there's been a massive dip. Now, what I think personally is that we're still in a bullish environment, right? In the last video, I was looking for us to come back down to potentially 48K if there was a bearish scenario to happen. And what happened was we flushed all the way down to pretty much 40K. And now we're starting to get that bounce around 48. I don't think it's time to be bearish right now. You want to be bearish up here. You want to be bullish over here. People are looking to buy the dip right now, in my opinion. I still think it's a bullish environment. So I'm looking to go higher in the coming weeks in Bitcoin and Ethereum and all these names. Yes, I'm looking for Bitcoin to go higher. That will cause a bounce in majority of these names. For the most part, I will be paying attention to, are we continuing this downtrend? Because if that does happen, that means, right, make your plan. What are you doing with your stuff, right? Do you have cash on the side? If we come up and use this trend line as resistance, it could continue to come further down. So you kind of want to think about what could potentially happen from a bearish perspective. Could get a lot worse than this is what I'm trying to say. So unless you're a very long-term holder, in my opinion, I'd wait for setups then starting to just go long just because the market dipped. Unless you're like in a name, like for me personally, Glxy, that's a name I don't plan on selling. Like today's the day I added on the dip because I just don't have a plan on selling Glxy anytime soon, years wise, unless the number goes dumb high. So right now, in my opinion, I would just wait. But then again, do whatever you'd like. It's your money. I'm just rambling. Overall though, I still think the trend is technically still in our favor. This is the only thing I'm worried about, is if we come up, get the rejection and continue downward. Now with Ethereum, different story. I think we're looking a lot more bullish in Ethereum than Bitcoin. Ethereum it just looks so bullish right now. I think we're in a little accumulation phase right here. The amount of wicks coming from this range, 3,900, is ridiculous. Like, it's telling us it wants to go higher. Look at this hammer. Like, today's print is gnarly, in my opinion. That was an absolutely savage shakeout that happened over the weekend. Savage shakeout. In my opinion, I wouldn't be surprised if ETH is probably at like 6K in coming weeks, because it does look like it wants to rip higher. But I'd be looking for it to completely fall out from this $3,900 level. That's what I'd consider it bearish, if it completely dumps from here. So we have Glxy here. A lot of these names I'm just going to go over briefly because they got castrated. They got absolutely slashed, right? Like Glxy, from the highs it made, got slashed 50%. So a lot of these names could be setting up for a nice little dip buy here, in my opinion. So that's why I think of Glxy. I'm still looking for it to break that upper trend line here. And we're going to move on here. We got Defi. Again, this downtrend, you could tell it's not making higher highs, but it is making lower lows. So I'm looking for it to see a lot of these names. Where is this lower high going to go? That's what we're looking for. Is it going to come back up to previous resistance levels? That's what we're looking for in a lot of these names. So I'm trying to see here in DeFi, how much higher are we going to go? Because this trend is a downtrend. It could be telling us that if we can't make a new high, then it's going to go lower. HUT, again, A, B, C. Where are we going to get this bounce? It might come up to this $16, $17 range, but that's where I'd be looking to take gains for a short-term trade. Hive, very similar. We come flushing right back down into this kind of accumulation range. Do we get a bounce? I think we are going to get a bounce. We probably will. But to go like really long on this bounce is hard to tell, because we're now in a favorable downtrend, at least on the daily time frame. Mara, back testing this trend line, could potentially get a bounce up into this range, but it's hard to tell. Is this going to be our supply zone now, right? It was in the past. We're getting those wicks from above. It's hard to tell. The setups now aren't looking as great as they were a few weeks ago, if it's not obvious. So I would just wait for it to set up, because for all we know, in the coming weeks, the Bitcoin run maybe isn't over and all these names set up again. There could be a bullish setup coming. So just keep it on the watch list. Keep going, checking them, because I think it could potentially set up soon. Who knows? We got Bitfarms here. I took a loss here on Bitfarms because I thought it was making a falling wedge into this demand zone. But guess what? It wasn't a demand zone. Get pranked, boy. And then we flushed right through. So there you go. There's a loss I took right there. Absolutely crappy. But hey, it's a part of the game. You can't complain about it. It looks like we're back testing this trend line. So again, a lot of these names, it's very similar. I think we're looking for that bounce, and we're trying to see if this range is going to be supply, or are we going to shred through. Very interesting. Coin, again, are we going to come back to this trend line here? How many times are we going to bounce from these lower levels? Big flush, fears in the market. There's no, like, why did we flush? You ever just wonder, like, why? You know, I don't think it's because COVID. That's BS in my opinion. So there we go. What caused it? Could be just fear in the markets, people using too much leverage traders getting flushed out. It causes a cascade to the downside, which causes fear in the market, which causes people to sell, and boom, here we are, 30% lower in majority of these names, right? So it's like, could this be a buy opportunity? Yes. Could it also be the beginning of a massive bear market downtrend? Yes. So you got to stay open-minded. In terms of a bullish perspective, these are the areas you want to buy from, though. SI, this one is probably the least bullish setup in my opinion. Clear range now that we're rejecting from. This 230 range is our absolute supply now. Absolutely. So that means if we come back up to here, I'd expect there to be selling in this range. I would be taking gains. So that's the breakdown for all this little ETF we got here. I think potentially Bitcoin could be setting up an absolutely rude fake out. But then again, it could be setting up this already evident downtrend that's been telling us. So maybe the bell is rung. The bells have, what's the saying? Maybe the music has stopped. I don't know. It's hard to tell. I want to see completely bearish volume, like massive, like the biggest we've ever seen. That would tell me that the bull run's completely done. When I look back here, right? This is back in 2017. Look at this. When we're looking at the bear volume, this is absolute fear. It's the biggest biggest volume period that we've had ever, pretty much ever, up until then. So keep that in mind. Right now, when we're looking at Bitcoin, it's not like that right now with the volume. It's nowhere near the highest we've ever been. We've seen much higher. It's pretty structured, right? We're pulling back nice and structured, where over here, nice flush. We look back at the top of 2017, right? Complete flush. Look at that. Parabolic flush. Parabolic flush. Doesn't really look so parabolic to me right now. Kind of looks like a flush if you look at a quick glance, but there's signs telling us that it could be a buying opportunity right around here. I'll let the chart develop and we'll come back to it in a week. Peace, guys.